10 people who vanished for years and returned in impossible ways. Every year, thousands of people disappear. Some run away, some get lost, and some face tragic endings, but a few rare cases go far beyond logic. These people vanished without explanation, only to return years later in ways that defy science, memory, and reality. Today, we uncover 10 mind-bending true stories of people who disappeared and came back under circumstances nobody can fully explain. Number 10. The strange case of Stephen Kubacki. In February 1978, 23-year-old student Stephen Kubacki went cross-country, skiing near Lake Michigan. Searchers found his skis and backpack neatly placed on the snow, and footprints leading straight toward the frozen lake. The tracks continued for about 200 meters, and then stopped suddenly, as if he had vanished into thin air. Rescue teams combed the icy waters for weeks, convinced he had fallen through the ice. Eventually, he was declared dead, but 15 months later, Stephen suddenly woke up in a grassy field in Pittsfield, Massachusetts, over 700 miles away, wearing clothes he didn't recognize. His backpack was lying next to him, perfectly dry and intact, exactly as it had been found the day he disappeared. Stephen said he had no memory of the missing months, only that he felt he had been running. Doctors found nothing wrong with him. Curiously, Stephen later studied linguistics and consciousness and has refused to talk publicly about what happened. Many believe his case is one of the closest examples of a real-life missing time episode. Number 9. The vanishing of James Byrne, Worson. In 1873, shoemaker James Worson made a drunken bet with friends. He claimed he could run the 10-mile distance from Leamington to Coventry without stopping. His friends followed in a horse-drawn wagon to make sure he didn't cheat. For the first few miles, everything was normal, until the moment that became legend. As Worson ran ahead of the wagon, he suddenly let out a sharp cry, then disappeared mid-stride. Witnesses said it looked as if he fell through the air itself, vanishing without leaving a trace. The dirt beneath him was undisturbed. His footprint trail stopped instantly, as if he had walked into an invisible wall. The men searched the area for hours. Police and villagers joined in, but no body was ever found. Some historians say this may be one of the earliest documented cases of a time slip, or perhaps a story exaggerated over the years. But others insist the witnesses were reliable men who never changed their statements. Number 8. Flight Sergeant Leonard Lowe. During World War II, RAF pilot Leonard Lowe was part of a mission over the English Channel in 1942 when his aircraft disappeared from radar. Search planes were sent, but no wreckage was ever found. He was presumed dead. Fast forward to 1980, a man wearing a perfectly preserved World War II Royal Air Force uniform walked into a small French village. He asked for help, speaking in old-fashioned British English and claiming he had just parachuted from his plane. The villagers were shocked. His appearance was identical to the missing pilot. Authorities were notified, but before they could confirm his identity, the man vanished from the hotel room where he was being held for questioning. No signs of forced exit, no tracks, nothing. His fingerprints were never found in any database, not even old military archives. Some say the man was a ghost. Others believe he slipped through time. No explanation has ever been accepted. Number 7. The twins who vanished. In 1954, 11-year-old twin sisters Patricia and Pamela Parker disappeared while walking home from school in rural Kentucky. Massive search parties scoured the woods. Roadblocks were set up. The FBI investigated. Nothing was ever found. 6 years later, in 1960, 2 teenage girls were discovered in Alabama after a routine police stop. They claimed to have no clear memory of their childhoods. Their accents and mannerisms were unusual, and they spoke with a strange mix of Southern English and old Kentucky expressions, DNA tests, years later, confirmed they were indeed the Parker twins. They had aged consistently with the missing timeline. But the strangest part wasn't their disappearance, it was what they remembered. They could still sing songs their mother taught them as little girls. They recognized family photographs but could not explain where they had been or who had taken them. Every time they were questioned about the missing years, they became anxious and confused. Some believe they were abducted and conditioned to forget. Others think it was a psychological break. But the distance, nearly 600 miles, and the total memory loss raised deeper questions. Number 6. The man from Torade. In 1954, a businessman arrived at Tokyo Airport carrying a passport from a country called Torade. He insisted Torade was a small nation between France and Spain and was shocked when officials told him it didn't exist. His passport was unlike any ever seen. The paper, the seals, even the visa stamps were perfect. He also carried a wallet filled with valid European currencies. Authorities placed him in a guarded hotel room while they investigated. But by the next morning, he was gone. The guards never saw anyone enter or leave. The room had only one door and no balcony. All of his documents disappeared with him. To this day, conspiracy theorists say he came from a parallel reality, one where Torrid exists and somehow slipped into ours by mistake. Number 5. The return of Clara Torres. In 1992, a 9-year-old girl named Clara Torres vanished during a massive blackout in Mexico City. Neighbors reported seeing a man pull her into a car, but the description was vague. After months, police declared she had likely been trafficked. In 2001, 9 years later, a teenage girl was found wandering in a remote town in northern Argentina. She spoke Spanish mixed with Quechua and called herself Naira. Locals said she had appeared suddenly months earlier, confused and with no belongings. Authorities ran DNA tests, and the girl matched Clara's parents in Mexico. When questioned, she claimed she had woken up in a strange house with people she didn't know. She remembered nothing of Mexico City. She had scars suggesting long-term travel by foot, but no idea how she crossed 2,700 miles through mountains and deserts. Trafficking experts say cases like this are extremely rare. Her missing years remain a mystery. Number 4. The boy who reappeared after 11 years. Jacob Wetterling disappeared in 1989 from a rural road in Minnesota. His case gained national attention and thousands of tips were investigated. In 2000, a teenage boy was found in Canada, dehydrated and confused, claiming to be Jacob. DNA tests at the time were inconclusive. Dentists said his dental records were consistent, but not confirmed. Months later, another young man appeared in Oregon, claiming the same identity, with extremely similar physical characteristics. His dental records matched even closer. But before the truth was established, the FBI sealed all information related to the case. Investigators stopped providing updates. News outlets were told not to report on the new developments. The young man disappeared from public view shortly after. To this day, nobody knows whether he was the real Jacob or why authorities buried the story so quickly. Number 3. Lawrence Joseph Bader, John Johnson. In 1957, salesman Lawrence Bader took a small boat onto Lake Erie. A storm rolled in and his boat washed ashore the next day with a hole in the hull. But no body, he was declared dead, leaving behind a wife and 4 children. 8 years later, an archery salesman named John Johnson was working at a sporting goods store in Nebraska. A co-worker noticed he looked strangely like Bader. Police compared fingerprints and confirmed John Johnson was Lawrence Bader. But here's the twist. Bader claimed he had no memory of his past life. He had remarried, started a new career, and lived a completely different personality. Outgoing, charismatic, even eccentric, totally unlike the quiet family man he had been. Doctors diagnosed him with amnesia, but couldn't explain how he built an entirely new identity with no recollection of the old one. Was it psychological trauma, a deliberate escape, or something else entirely? Number 2, the Pollock sisters. In 1957, young sisters, Joanna and Jacqueline Pollock, died in a tragic car accident in England. A year later, their mother gave birth to twin girls, Gillian and Jennifer. As they grew older, the twins displayed behaviors eerily similar to their deceased siblings. They recognized the toys that belonged to Joanna and Jacqueline, toys they had never seen before. They knew the way to their old school, even though they had never been there. They spoke about the accident with disturbing accuracy. But the strangest detail, Jennifer had an identical birthmark to Jacqueline, in the same spot, with the same shape. When the twins turned 5, these memories faded completely as suddenly as they had appeared. Reincarnation, genetic memory, or something the human mind cannot yet explain. Number 1. The Benjamin Kyle mystery. In 2004, a man was found behind a Burger King dumpster in Georgia. He was sunburned, dehydrated, and nearly blind, with total amnesia. He didn't recognize his own face in the mirror, nor could he recall his name. He called himself Benjamin Kyle because doctors needed a placeholder name. Despite FBI involvement, fingerprint searches, and national TV appearances, no one recognized him. He remembered fragments. A childhood near railroads, a diner he once washed dishes in, faint flashes of a family he couldn't describe. It took 11 years and advanced DNA genealogy to discover he was actually William Burgess Powell, a man who had gone missing in 1976. But when investigators tried to retrace his lost 30 years, there were no records, no witnesses, no documents, almost as if he had existed outside society. To this day, William has no memory of the missing decades. These stories remind us how fragile our understanding of reality is. People disappear, and sometimes return with mysteries deeper than the disappearance itself. Which case shocked you the most? Let us know in the comments. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories that challenge everything we believe is possible.